Good evening, everybody. How we doing on election night 2022? As we're coming at you live right here on the Around the Ropes podcast. Fortunately, it's a small crew tonight, so before we get rolling into the show, let me see how my tag team partner today is doing. He is the voice of Invictus Pro Wrestling. He is also the voice of Wrestle Pro, as far as the ring announcing voice.
Oh, me!
He is also the ring announcing voice for other promotions such as Creative Pro Wrestling, Colossal Championship Wrestling, New Evolution Wrestling. You know him, you love him. Some people know him as Sexy Ryan. What's going on, Ryan?
What's going on, dude? I'm very excited. Just like Mr. Blaine said, unfortunately, Costa and Carl cannot be here tonight. Unfortunately for Costa, he walked into a Tim Hortons and never came out. And then for Mr. Roberts, apparently he was trying to get the season pass, getting ready for next year's Great Adventure down in Jersey. And when the staff members saw him, they thought he was one of the meerkats that got loose in the safari.
That wasn't less than what I had.
But somehow they'll escape those prisons and we'll come back.
Yeah.
But tonight it's us.
It's the Long
Island. We got a lot to talk about.
Hold on, right. It's the Long Island edition.
Oh, you know it.
But yes, guys, we'll get into all that stuff because we got WWE for you guys tonight. We got AEW for you guys. But then in hour number 2, we are going to be previewing New Evolution Wrestling as they're about to have their anniversary show coming up this Saturday at the Queensboro Elks Lodge. We will also talk about Wrestle Pro as they're about to have their 100th show on Saturday night as well at the Broadway Rec Center. But then also Invictus Pro Wrestling is doing a show Sunday in Bronxlandia, as they called it.
Yep, in the Boogie Down Bronx, our debut.
So we got all that to get to and much, much more. But folks, before we get into all that, if you'd like to subscribe to us, we greatly appreciate it. It costs you nothing. It does wonders for us. All you gotta do is go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell, be notified of any interviews that we have. Because folks, we actually just dropped 2 interviews this week since our last show. We just dropped an interview with another ring announcer that you see a lot of shows in New Jersey, Mr. Rich Reed. You definitely want to check that out.
Sexy Rich.
And there was another name who we just dropped, and this, folks, was a surprise interview. Literally.
And who was that? And who was that, sir?
You might know him. You might remember this gentleman from a certain faction in WWE called the Spirit Squad.
The Spirit Squad. Yes, I do remember those guys. There were 5. It was 5 guys who cheerlead, right?
Yes. And if you remember, one of them specifically was Mikey.
Mikey!
Carl and I had the luxury of interviewing him a couple nights ago, so we definitely want to check those out. Check out any of our past interviews because, guys, we have other interviews that we've done where we've had Bobby Fish, Sean Kanan. Go down the list of who Mark Henry has been a guest on this show.
And also, didn't you guys have a guest on a long time ago, which is leading to our first topic of the evening?
That's exactly where I was about to go to there. Right. I think you and I tonight are on the same wavelength.
I think so.
Because
no dome-shaped chromosome blocking our signals.
No, because guys, one of the guests we had on our show, And it's scary to think, folks, in a couple of weeks, we will actually be hitting our 1 year anniversary for the show.
Wow.
It's scary to think. But one of the guests we had on in our run so far has had quite the year, to say the least.
I was thinking that.
The guy we've had on has not only done shows for GCW when they were over at the Hammerstein Ballroom earlier this year, he also was the referee in SummerSlam Tag Team title match. He also was involved in Ric Flair's last match. And oh yeah, he made his debut last week on AEW.
I thought I was describing this. This was my idea, dude.
I was setting it up, but now you can go from there.
You just gave away the rest of it, man. You just gave away the whole timeline.
So, floor is yours.
All right, the person he's talking about is Jeff Jarett. That's the story.
I was
because John took the rest of the freaking story. Okay, just to reiterate what he said, the last outlaw Jeff Jarett. The reason why they're calling it the year of Jeff Jarett was because earlier this year in January at GCW's The World in Hammerstein Ballroom, he took on Effie and won. And then wasn't he also hired again by WWE as the coordinator of live events?
Yes, he was.
So in the midst of all that, he then special guest referees a match at SummerSlam, not Summerfest, SummerSlam, in the Tag Team Championship match. But then 24 hours later, he wrestled. He put on those good old fashioned wrestling boots and tied them up, and faced off in a tag team match, teaming up with another individual named Jay Lethal, as they took on the team of Andrade El Idolo and his father-in-law, Ric Flair, in Ric Flair's last match, which that was a sight to see. And then, just like Mr. Blaine so kindly ruined the surprise. I'm just kidding. He didn't ruin anything. Last week on Dynamite, it was Jay Lethal versus Darby Allin, which I believe Jay Lethal won. I believe. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Sanjay Dutt, who's accompanying who's accompanying Jay Lethal and the knockoff Great Khali, aka Satnam Singh. And they said that they have a friend, a close friend, because Sting is nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden you hear Sting's music play on the Tron, everyone's facing the stage. But who comes in but that recognizable black hat and even that more recognizable guitar? Good old Double J, the last outlaw, Jeff Jarett.
Now, Ryan, what I was going to set up for is, can you explain a little bit more to our listeners who are watching tonight's program as far as your thoughts on Jeff Jarett, with this year being the year of Jeff Jarett?
I love it. I absolutely love it because I was there in person at GCW. And let me tell you, the guy is an absolute heat magnet. He almost caused a riot at Hammerstein.
And I remember that Hammerstein show because if I remember correctly, didn't Cardona almost set a riot because he came out to Sandman's music and he came out with a that said F McFoley?
Yeah, so basically that song was a remix of Enter Sandman and his theme, his Always Ready theme. And dude, what I thought was funny was that when the music hits, the iconic, for Metallica, you see everyone get up on their feet and they're turning up the freaking looking up because they're assuming someone's gonna be walking around the crowd. But then all of a sudden, the music keeps going. All of a sudden, you see Cardona and Chelsea walk on stage. I'm like, wow, that's fucking great.
Yeah, I remember that night because we actually did a watch along here on this show that night. Because I remember it was myself and Carl doing it. Because every time you appeared on screen, Carl's like, "Oh, look, there's Ryan. There's Ryan."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. He texted me. He texted me during the show saying, "Get off the screen."
But the fact that somebody like Jeff Jarett, who's the age he is, and he still gets a reaction like he does to this day, is actually somewhat surprising to me.
Why?
But that's not surprising in a bad way, surprising in a good way.
I know. I'm saying why.
Because you don't expect somebody like Jarrett, who's been in this industry, and we actually do have a comment coming in from Andrew, loyal follower of the show, saying hi to all. Hey Andrew, how you doing tonight? Then
What's up, Andrew?
he follows up with, John, hope you're feeling better. Andrew, I'm feeling as great as I can. We get to talk wrestling tonight. And if I sound like I've been smoking for 40 years, I haven't. Trust me. So I'm just giving that forewarning right now. But no, it just not surprises, maybe surprises is the word. I think surprises in the sense that people actually remember who he was.
The shock factor.
Maybe the shock factor was what kind of shocked me. When all of a sudden people actually remembered who he was.
Not to mention he can still go.
Yeah, but how many of those guys from that era can still go, realistically?
Not much.
I mean, if you want to be realistic, you got from his era, basically him and Sting are the only two that can really still go.
Pretty much. And little fun fact: if people really look at it, it kind of looks like TNA 2007 in AEW.
Yeah, I did see somebody put out a picture of that because you have not only do you have Sanjay, you have Lethal, but then if you also remember back at All Out, you had an appearance by Motor City Machine Guns.
And you have Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe, yep. And then I'm trying to think here who else.
Sting.
Yes, Sting. But then that's really it.
And even, sorry to cut you off, even at one point, some group called Generation Me.
Yeah, what have they done?
I don't know. Last I heard they got into a fight with a dog.
But then if you also want to be technical, and this is more behind the scenes, isn't there also a fallen angel who works for AEW who used to be part of that 07 TNA run?
Why, yes. And also, his other tag partner, Kazarian?
Who for a while was the X Division champion.
Yep.
Before he cashed in on Option C. But then you look at Jeff Jarrett, and yeah, I think it's great that he's sort of having a resurgence right now in his career.
I think he has something. I think he's doing something like director of business development or something like that in AEW.
What I read, the plan is they brought him in with the hopes of possibly doing house shows.
That'll be interesting.
But I think it's kind of funny though, because I think if I'm wrestling for AEW, I'd love to have the schedule they have. Work 3 days a week and call it a day.
Pretty much.
I mean, who was it that they said? Britt Baker, I think they said, has it. Where her office is closed. Like, she'll have a patient come in Tuesday night. Close the office Wednesday. She'll travel to whatever city they're in that day. She gets on the first plane back, and she's back in the office on Thursday. I'd rather have that schedule than realistically have the schedule of, okay, well, you got to be in, at this arena this day. Then you got to be here this day. Then you got to be here this day. Because I've heard stories from wrestlers over the years that
it's a logistical nightmare.
Oh yeah, but not even that. Especially when you get these guys who are going 300-400 miles in a night because they have to hit the next town. It becomes the road becomes your best friend. The road becomes your best friend.
I still do that. I still do that today.
Yeah, oh yeah, you definitely do. And to me, it's like you look at what these guys do, and I would not want that schedule. I mean, granted, yeah, get to live in a hotel. Okay, that's all wonderful. Don't get me wrong. But I
also with working one of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah, I mean, granted, you're working. Yeah, you're not even that, but you're working right now. A lot of people can't even say that they have that opportunity right now. But I just think to me, going from, but it's not even that. Like I said before, I've heard horror stories.
Oh yeah.
Andrew actually chimes in here with a question.
Okay.
He says, "Are you down to 4 days now on WWE?"
Define like 4 days, like.
Because I know when I apply, and actually here's a little bit of a behind the curtain thing. I actually applied for a job with WWE back in the day. This goes back probably 5-6 years ago. I applied to be an assistant to the writing staff. And I was told at the time, now again, this is pre-pandemic, I was told I would be if I were to have gotten the job, I would be flying out from where I live, on Long Island, to whatever city they're in. Then I would from there go. Oh, here, hold on. He clarifies his question. He says, "Are they just doing 4 days a week of house shows and Raw and SmackDown?"
So to you know what? Let's get back to your story, and then we'll get back to that question.
Yeah. What I was told was you were to fly out to Monday Night Raw, because at this point SmackDown wasn't Fridays.
Nope, that was Tuesdays.
This was Tuesday night, so this is how far back I'm going here.
Oh, yeah.
So what they would have you do is go from Raw, then rent a car to go to SmackDown. From SmackDown, you would fly home Wednesday morning. Thursdays, you would have to be up in Stanford for, meetings and stuff like that. And that was your whole week. But I couldn't imagine doing that type of traveling where it was like, today I'm in, Tacoma, Washington, next week, and then, next day I'm in Seattle, back home to Long Island to back up to Stanford.
Your suit schedule's all fucked up.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get back to Andrew's question here, because it's an interesting question that he brings up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll re-show it again in case, He wants to know if they're doing 4 days a week now of house shows, plus Raw and SmackDown.
So, I think what they're doing is, I think it's just 4 days in general, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Mm-hmm. Fridays are SmackDown. Then the other 2 days are house shows, and it's split. It's split. And then Raw is on Monday.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was saying if they're traveling, to the UK, that's when they do the long legs.
Yeah.
That's when they do the long legs, and that's why when some people notice when for instance, they're in California for Raw. Mm-hmm. And then immediately they wait, they're in the UK, but wait, how are they able to do Raw again after just coming back, finishing, let's say Germany the night before? Because in California, it's a 3-hour time difference from us on the East Coast. So what they do is they do Raw. Because out there, it starts at 5:00 for them.
Yes.
It starts at 5:00 for them. Mm-hmm. And same thing with SmackDown too. So I know they did it for when they had to go to Saudi Arabia. And they did a double shot in Detroit. Detroit's an hour, 2 hours difference. Mm-hmm. So what they did was, and SmackDown was only 2 hours. So they only did 2 hours there. And then And then they did then they did their normal matches and spiel, not having to wait for any bullshit commercial breaks. They go right through it. Basically, it's a long day, but unfortunately, that's what happens when you're traveling across the pond.
Yeah, but they've done that a lot though. Okay, but even go look at them when they do their holiday schedule. How many
Oh,
times
please.
do they film like 3 episodes of Raw or 2 episodes of Raw the same night? Because one of them is going to be filled in for the Christmas show.
Again, it's all about location too. Like if they're in Texas, they can get away with it because time difference.
Yeah, you're not going to see that happen if they're ever in New York or anywhere on the coast.
Oh, hell no.
Also, I couldn't see the New York crowd staying there for two shows of Raw. Because you know damn well the New York crowd would destroy them.
Yeah.
But no, but Andrew, I like the comments, guys. Keep the comments coming in. We will pull them up throughout the entire show tonight. If you're watching this, you can comment through Facebook or through YouTube. Again, any questions you have, myself and Ryan, we will get to them. As like I said before, folks, if you just joined us, it's only a 2-man crew tonight, so it's yeah. But moving on, we just touched on the Jeff Jarett stuff, and I want to kind of transition a little bit into WWE because Monday Night Raw last night was definitely an interesting one, and actually, Andrew kind of asked the question that I was just leading into.
Well, would you like to showcase the question to the fans?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He wants to know, do we think Money in the Bank was a waste? Now, folks, what he's talking about is last night on Monday Night Raw, Austin Theory cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. No, folks, not on the main title that we have seen everybody else cash in on. No, he cashed in on the United States title, a belt that he held beforehand.
What made it even more fucked up, in my opinion, was that right before that, Seth Rollins issued an open challenge for the title. So my question is this. Why the fuck did you do that? Because if he said, okay, we'll answer open challenge. Well, here comes Austin Theory. You should have fucking done that. My God. My God.
Well, as you kind of timed in here, Ryan, not to cut you off for a second. He says, because do we think Austin Theory is not main event?
Not yet.
Unfortunately, Andrew, this is everybody else who's watching. Unfortunately, when you look at the WWE main event scene right now, it's very selective. I think is the right term to use. Because right now you got Roman, okay, and what he's doing. You can throw Cody in there, obviously when Cody comes back. You can throw Bray Wyatt in there.
True.
You can throw Rollins in there. You can throw Brock in there. You can throw Bobby in there.
Hello, you're missing someone.
Who?
The Scottish leg kicker himself, fucking Drew.
Yes. Well, yeah.
And also his brother from another island, the bro kicker himself, Sheamus.
Yeah, but you notice how I said it's a select few.
But it's the right people, though. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
They finally got the shit together after all these years.
I just think the problem is somebody like Austin Theory, he wasn't in that. He doesn't have that credibility yet.
No.
I'm not saying eventually I could see. Let me put it this way. Actually, I have somebody else who I think could be a main eventer before Austin Theory. And this may burn the IWC. or burn down the IWC for what I'm about to say. I could see Logan Paul being a main eventer before Austin Theory.
Oh boy, here we go. Here comes the hate mail. Here comes the comments.
Would you like me to explain why?
Sure. Let's add more fuel to the fire. Go right ahead, John.
Because we saw what he did in his match with Roman at Crown Jewel. This is a guy who has only had 3 matches before that was his 3rd match he's ever had.
So he's had 2.
Yes, Ryan, he's had 2. But
folks, we're doing great tonight. It's just the 2 of us. Who cares?
But you look at the 2 matches before this one, and he started to show that he's not this type of person where it's, oh, I'm a celebrity, I'm just coming in for the run. He's actually putting the work in. I mean, you look at the buckshot lariat he did on Saturday.
Oh.
Also, the frog splash that he did. And that's become his move. One of his go-to moves is the frog splash. But
Yep.
the one that I'm referring to is one that he did on the top where Roman was on the table. And he had enough time to balance on that top rope and have his phone out.
Oh, you mean the elbow drop to the table?
I thought that was a frog splash.
Mm-mm. Elbow.
But, I mean, you look at what he's done. And he was in that match on Saturday was about, I think, a 25-minute match.
Yeah.
And you notice in the 25 minutes they had no holds at all?
The fucking miracle.
But it's when it comes to Logan Paul, he has the it factor. And yeah, and I know people are going to say, oh, John, what are you talking about? He's a YouTuber. But you look at how he controlled, especially that whole, you look at the whole lead up, okay, to that match that he had with Roman. He pretty much held his own against arguably one of the greatest people right now in the modern age on the mic. Will you at least agree with me on that?
Oh, no, I agree.
That he held his own.
I will say this also.
Mm-hmm.
With WWE, as of late, they've been getting in celebrities that actually can do work. Like, for example, the first one that really started this trend, Bad Bunny.
Yes.
And then after that was Johnny Knoxville. I know. I feel the foundation of the IWC crumbling right now after I mentioned Johnny Knoxville. But if you look at that match, it was pure entertainment, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, and I told that, but that's my point, though, is you look at the guys like you just mentioned, Bad Bunny, Knoxville, Logan Paul.
I mean, come on, Bad Bunny did a fucking destroyer.
Yeah. But here's the other part also that you're forgetting. Bad Bunny was in a tag team match.
Yeah, he was at first. Yeah, he was at WrestleMania.
Knoxville was in a multi-man match. Well, it became a multi-man.
Well, it became a massive handicap match. That's what it was.
Logan Paul was one-on-one.
I know. All 3 times. Oh, no. His first match was a tag match.
Yeah, with the Miz.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but that
where he surprised me.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this right now also. Again, folks, if you want to send me hate, you can find me at Twitter at John_Blaine. I could see him also going for that title. Maybe not against Roman. And obviously right now he's out for a year because he has, he basically destroyed his leg. But if the time ever came for him to get a title shot again, wouldn't put it past me to see him win it. I would not put it past me at all. And here's the other thing I'm going to say that's gonna burn the asses of people in the IWC. Give me Paul and what's his face? Give me Paul and Reigns again over Omega and Okada.
Now, where have I heard that phrase before?
I don't know. Because here's the thing. You look at a lot of those AEW matches, and we've talked about it on the show hundreds of times. They're all, how many times can you put how many times can you do an Asahito moonsault into a Hurricane Rana, into 9,000 cycles? There's no storytelling. You look at Logan Paul and Roman Reigns, you had storytelling there. Again, folks, you're coming to the show, you're going to get the truth. If you don't like it, you can leave out the back door.
We need the viewers.
Well, just, watch for a little bit. But, right, am I off on what I'm saying?
Are you off or wrong?
Am I wrong for what I'm saying?
Oh, no, not at all.
I want somebody to try and challenge me on this.
Oh, there'll be people online. There will be people online going, "No, John, you are so wrong. He is not a trained wrestler. I know this because I've been watching wrestling for 20 years, and you haven't. So there, my word explains it all." And that's coming from a 45-year-old virgin living downstairs in his mother's basement.
Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. The way you describe that, you might as well describe a bald-headed guy we know in New Jersey.
So anyway, again, folks, like John said, if you don't like the truth, well then, then join the rest. Then join the rest of the WWE universe and just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah. By the way, I want to talk about that quickly. The crowd last
night. I got fucking words to say about that.
They were last night up in Connecticut, right?
No.
Where were they last night?
Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. There's a Mohegan Sun out there too.
Oh, okay. So what do you think about the crowd from last night?
Okay, here we go. If you are going to bring back someone like Mia Yim with her career, accolades, do it in a town where fans will actually pay the fuck attention.
Wait, who's Mia Yim?
Not. Shut up.
Don't you mean Reckoning?
Well, you shut up. I'm on it right now.
Go ahead.
Thank you. You don't debut her. You debut her in one of the bigger cities like Pittsburgh or New York or anywhere on the East Coast or anywhere in the tri-state area because the Northeast and IWC. You can hate on me, but the Northeast actually has a fucking pulse. Not in the middle of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, where basically in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere, there is a Mohegan Sun, great casino by the way, but the fans there don't give a flying fuck. Hell, when AJ Styles and the Club came out, all you heard was, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, seriously, WWE, get your shit together. Stop doing Raw in the middle of like Hodunk. Leave Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for fucking house shows. Leave them for house shows because you know damn well house shows never get any reactions. Do those in main cities like Pittsburgh. Well, actually, Pittsburgh's debatable depending on the day. But do it in New York. Do it in Jersey. Do it in California and Los Angeles because they actually have a crowd out there. Do it in Texas. Do it in not Jacksonville, or nowhere in Florida. Don't do Raw or SmackDown in Florida because they don't have any energy in the building. Case in point, when the week after the Dudley Boys returned in 2015, they were in Tampa, Florida, and when their music played, the crowd did nothing.
We are really pissing off the wrestler fan base tonight, aren't we?
This is coming from someone that's in the industry who knows a thing or two about, I don't know, fan interaction. These guys and gals are busting their ass off 300 days a year to entertain you, the fans, and that's all you can do is fucking sit there and or sit there. Oh yeah, wrestling. Yeah. If you're gonna do that, then stay the fuck home.
I feel like you're describing me at a show.
No, that's the thing. You're different because you actually have a pulse. Some of the fans that go to even the people that are sitting in the front row, they don't do shit. They don't clap. All they do is just stand there and sit there, and then when the match is done, stand up and wait, and then just stand there. Match starting, sit back down. Match done, step back up. Like, seriously. This is why I love AEW crowds, because every single person in there is fucking alive.
Yeah.
Again, I'm feeling great tonight, and I'm on a fucking roll right now.
Oh, no, you definitely... but, folks, what we're also... I want to stress this out, too. With what we're saying, we're not... Yes, Ryan may be coming from a different avenue that I'm coming from, because Ryan is in the industry. I actually had to explain this to somebody at a show recently. And I said, look, when I talk about this stuff on the show, like we are tonight, I'm not coming at this as somebody who's taken a bump before. I've never taken a bump before in my life. I don't ever plan on taking a bump.
Don't!
But, and actually, Ryan, this is a compliment to you that I'm about to say, so let me roll with this.
Oh, I like hearing compliments. Go ahead.
But having, knowing you for the last almost 6 months, having Carl on the show, listening to Busted Open, I look at wrestling from a much different perspective. I don't look at it as, oh, you have wrestler A taking on wrestler B. Oh, ooh, Asahito, ooh, Moonsault, ooh, Hurricane Rana. When I'm watching this stuff, and the reason why I'm so critical about this stuff is I need it to make sense. I need for there to be some sort of emotional investment in it. And when you see these crowds on Monday Night Raw, it's almost like they're sitting there going, well, I got a ticket so I can go watch wrestling for 3 hours. And I don't give a shit who's in the ring. So I'm just going to sit there like this. And, I'm going to start doing the angry millennial thing going, this person, I don't like that this person won. And it's like, dude.
And again, this is why I said I love AEW when it comes to their live events. Because everybody's always complained. I'm not going to lie. I've been complaining a little bit, saying, oh, God, why are they going back to Chicago again? Why are they going back there? Why are they coming back to New York? Why do they always keep going back to the same places 2-3 times a year? Why? Because they know their markets. When they went out to Salt Lake City right before the pandemic, they didn't do well. No. They learned from their mistakes.
Here's the sad part. In the last 10 minutes, I have actually praised AEW in certain aspects. And basically, wow, the IWC is going to love me. I might as well change my name to Bully.
Again, IWC, 45-year-olds who live in their mother's basement.
Or who live in the state of New Jersey. But moving on. But, I mean, people crap on Tony Khan. And I'm not going to take that away. People crap on, and there's certain aspects where Tony Khan deserves to be crapped on. Okay, but Ryan, like you just said, you look at what he has done as far as why do you think every year they make the trip to Arthur Ashe Stadium? Why do you think they've been at UBS Arena, I think, twice now since it's open?
Because they know the market.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think?
I feel like Sorry, go ahead.
Why do you think next year? I mean, I think they announced the end of January next year they're going to be making their debut in Kentucky.
Not only Kentucky, but also in Fresno, California.
Yeah, because but you're going to see them go back to the Chicago's, the New Yorks, the Floridas. I mean, damn well Jacksonville's always going to get a big reaction from them because Jacksonville is basically where they started.
And also West Virginia.
Yes.
Or Virginia, anywhere in that area.
Mm-hmm. But you look though, and I mean, you just said it perfectly before. Tony Khan isn't going to go back to a place that they didn't do well ticket sales wise,
or energy wise.
Like you can read a room and tell how the energy in the room is. Because I know it's a different level, but I want to go to this point here. Mm-hmm. You go back to the 3 shows from the last weekend: Ace, Colossal Championship Wrestling, and Breed Combination Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you right now, there was a difference in the energy at Ace than there was Sunday afternoon at Break.
Oh yeah,
and there was a different energy at Colossal.
Yeah, it's different crowds, and again this is.
No. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm good. Computer's had to take a massive stop there for a second, but my point was this.
Yeah.
The energy was different all 3 of those shows. And
it was.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and I feel like this is one of the unfortunately the key parts that WWE is completely screwing up. And that is they keep going to these same towns.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, yeah, they can they draw because it's WWE. But is that really what their business is all about now? Just drawing people? Or do you want energy and liveliness?
I think with them, they're not in it they're more in it for oh look, we made it to Tacoma, Washington.
Yeah, you sold 3,500 tickets in an arena that holds 18,000. Great job.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that. You are not wrong at all.
Remember when they did Stomping Grounds?
Oh God.
Yeah, and you see basically 3/4 of the arena tarped off. That's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, but I also want to get to something else with WWE.
Sure, why not?
Because, like I said, folks, we're going to do after we get to WWE, since we touched on AEW already. I think we have one other thing from one of the big companies to get into. And then, folks, then we're going to take a break. And then we're going to get into some independent wrestling. Did you hear the reports about Vince? That his investigation is over?
What?
The investigation into all of his hush money stuff was completed.
I actually did not hear this.
And from what I read, supposedly they found that he did nothing wrong. Because now the funny thing is, not the funny part is, now you're seeing pictures getting posted where he has been spotted at restaurants in New York City with women not named Linda McMahon.
I call bullshit. Who did the investigation?
Supposedly WWE had some sort of group that did it. An independent company.
Yeah. Hush money.
Mm-hmm. But
I call bullshit.
Well, from what I read in the thing, they said that the SCC, I think it was not going to file any sort of federal charges against Vince.
Yeah, because probably someone's best friends with Linda McMahon.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong on that at all. But one last thing I want to get to in amongst the big promotions is over at Impact Wrestling. We saw her debut on the most recent episode.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say a faction kind of got revamped a little bit.
Ah, yes.
Now, Mr. Peterson, would you like to tell our listeners of this said faction?
Why, certainly. So, in Impact Wrestling, there was a little faction called Violent by Design, which was run by Eric Young.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. I haven't watched Impact in a while. I don't know if he's still a part of Impact anymore. Eric Young?
Yes, he. From what I saw the most recent episode, he is. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But you also have to remember. I mean, you know this, but for people who are watching, Impact is not live. They usually tape like 2 or 3 episodes when they're in the specific towns.
Yep.
So I don't know what his contract status is right now, but yeah, from what I saw, he is still part of Impact.
Well, anyway. So, it turns out there was a few, the other member, Diener,
Yes.
I believe that's his name. He, also you see a bunch of people come out in yellow hoodies. And, they're on there, and, they attack. I forgot who they attacked. And then they form, and then, the people in the yellow hoodies, they form like a half circle in the ring, down on their knee, praying to the high and mighty.
Mm-hmm.
But there are 2 individuals that are standing there. And Diener says, take it off. Both of them take off their hoods. On one side, you have the formerly known as 5 Allen Angels. And on the other side, a big beefy boy himself, who a lot of people have not seen in wrestling in a while, Big Con, a.k.a. Connor from the Ascension. Which that threw me off guard. I'm like, where the hell has he been?
I did read though, by the way, because Allen Angels is set to appear at WrestleCade in 2 weeks down in North Carolina.
Oh,
it's going to be him, 10, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. It's the last appearance he is doing with Dark Order.
Well, it's funny. I will mention this also, since now you mentioned WrestleCade. Mm-hmm. They already announced 2 matches for their Massive Super Show that's happening that Saturday, the 26th.
Okay.
I know this is part of the indie wrestling thing, but I just saw this, and I want to bring this up right now.
Yeah.
Basically, we're seeing a first-time ever matchup, and also a return match from Ring of Honor. Now, John, I told you about the first-time ever one, which I will explain right now.
Yeah.
First time ever, Speedball Mike Bailey taking on one half of basic, possibly the greatest tag team in wrestling right now, Dax Harwood.
Mm-hmm.
And then just announced a return tag match that hasn't been seen in a long time, and that is Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, or Mike Kanellis, the Kingdom, with Maria Kanellis, taking on the Briscoes.
2 teams, when you think of tag team wrestling, you think of those 2 teams.
The Kingdom and the Briscoes. Ring of Honor, baby.
Yeah, I know it's really history those 2 teams have. But speaking about conventions, right? Mm-hmm. We actually just got confirmation, and by we getting confirmation, I already posted on my Facebook page. But I can unveil right now one of our spots you will see us next February. Folks, February, I think it's the 5th, I think.
Yep, February 5th.
We will be returning to Celeb Fest down in Baltimore. It's going to be, I think, in Millersville, if I remember correctly.
Let me look at the poster. My apologies if you see in this massive fucking face right now. It's at the Carroll County AC Center in Westminster, Maryland.
Yes. So myself and Mr. Roberts will be there.
And potentially me. Scheduling tentative.
Yep. And folks, I will say this right now: we will have our coffee there. And after the success we saw at the last Slabfest, yes, that coffee, which by the way, folks, I have discovered does great for getting odors out of the car. Really works wonders.
Forget sticking the air fresheners on. Just keep a couple of this in your car for 2 days. Your car will smell delicious.
Yeah, let's smell like the inside of Starbucks.
I don't want it to smell burnt.
But yes,
and crossing off another list on the sponsorship deals, Starbucks.
Hey, we pissed off the state of Pennsylvania and Starbucks tonight. I think we're okay.
No, not the state of Pennsylvania. We just pissed off Amish country.
Oh, great! So they're gonna come. They're gonna come use their rifles at us.
Yeah, they're gonna be coming in they're gonna be riding in on their horses when they come. Yeehaw!
But let's do this. As I get that image of me trying to run out of my head. Let's do this, Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Because unless there's anything else from the big promotions that you want to get into.
Oh! Yes!
Go ahead.
It was announced last night on Raw that on November 26th, we will have Raw Games!
You realize the way you just did that, it looked like you were yelling it in my ear.
Did I really?
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's going to be a 5-on-5 War Games match on the women's side.
Mm-hmm.
That the other one might be tentative. I don't know if they announced it. But this one was announced.
Yep.
On one side, you have Damage Control, which is Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Bailey. And now the fourth member, which is Nikki Cross. And Vacant making his War Games debut, taking on the other side, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, and also apparently Vacant's twin sisters. Now, I've been hearing some potential rumors of who might actually be on the Damage Control side.
And who have you been hearing?
How about Tegan Knox? Because there's been eyes of her coming back.
Yes.
And her and Dakota Kai have a little history.
So wouldn't that make sense for her to be on the other side then?
No. History in a good way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think on the other side, I think we know who the other two will be.
Is it the boss?
Oh, Naomi? Of course.
No, the other boss.
What other boss?
Sasha Banks.
No.
Oh wait, we can't mention her name. I forgot. She's not with the company anymore. I forgot.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Redacted.
I've also heard another name, possibly. And we haven't seen this person on TV for some time. How about Charlotte Flair?
Nope.
Who else have you heard?
No, just no Charlotte Flair. I don't know why. I don't know what would gain her to be in the War Games match. Honestly.
I have another possible idea, and I'm only saying this because I know Triple H had, except for burying Austin Theory on Monday, has done a lot of good since he's taken over as head of creative.
Why, yes.
I could throw another possible name depending on if they do officially sign this person. And I only know, and I'm only saying this person's name because this person's name has been brought up several times. How about Chelsea Green?
I have a theory about how if she's signed with WWE, how they're going to debut her. Not in War Games, though.
How? Or you want to get to that later on?
I want to get into that later on, but I mean, along with the other big news that has happened over the weekend.
And that would be?
Was a certain contract ending?
Ooh.
Oh my God! We were just talking about this.
I'm confused.
How about Nick Aldis?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. But why do we do this? Let's take a quick break.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come.
I was gonna make.
We will get into the Nick Aldis breakup from the NWA.
Oh yes.
And why I think he will end up as one of the surprise people in the Royal Rumble in 2023.
At least we're spoiling the surprise.
I said possibly.
Still.
And we will also get into what is happening this weekend amongst the independent wrestling scene, as our very own Mr. Ryan Peterson will be doing the ring announcing not only for Wrestle Pro, but he will also be doing the ring announcing for Invictus on Sunday. So that and much more as we continue right here on the Around the Ropes podcast. But now, folks, we will throw it over to our producer, who's not here right now, for a quick word. So again, folks, stay tuned. You're listening to the Around the Ropes podcast right here on the ATR Network. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey guys, this is Carl from the ATR Network, also the producer of the Around the Ropes podcast, and I'm proud to introduce to you one of our good partners, Moonstar Smoke, right here in Animal Park, New Jersey. There's their phone number, their fax number. Guys, if you're a vape smoker like I am, they have everything you need. Also, too, if you're a hookah smoker, they have all your needs for that. Check them out. They're a mom and pop store. Sweetest people in the world, and you want to check them out. But also, too, you want to stay tuned to see more advertisements coming from them.
And we are back right here on the On Ropes podcast, right here on the ATN Network. As always,
hooray!
I am joined with the voice himself. He does the ring announcing for Invictus and for Wrestle, which we will get to both of those because both of those companies have very big shows this weekend. Mr. Ryan Peterson.
C'est moi. That's me.
Yeah. Okay, why'd you sound like Mario for a second?
I was trying to speak French. Bonsoir, suis-je, voulez-vous, croissant, escargot. All right.
Oui.
No, I did that during break.
Wow, folks, we're off to a great start right here.
Welcome to ATR After Dark.
Wait, no. It's called Welcome to ATR when Carl Roberts and Casa Paqueras are here.
And again, folks, for those that are tuning in, again, it's just myself and Mr. Blaine because Costa and Carl could not be here this evening because, again, unfortunately, Mr. Costa walked into a Tim Hortons and still hasn't come out at this very time. And also, apparently, Mr. Roberts went down to Jackson, New Jersey, went down to Great Adventure, and trying to get a head start on the season pass for next year. And apparently the staff thought that he was a wild animal, aka a meerkat from the freaking safari drive-thru that they have. So now he's held in captivity, but trying to find a way to escape again. So we really miss you guys both.
I don't have a better one for Carl. Don't have a better one for him. He went to the border to try to get Costa his stuff.
Mm.
And he went to go sling the thing over and accidentally slinged it right through his head and knocked himself out. So he's asleep right now with the fence at the border.
No, actually, I think it's more the fact that he slingshot the coffee over, it overshot Costa, and ended up in Niagara Falls. So now Niagara Falls tastes like our coffee.
Wow.
Talk about a cold brew. Bumps.
talking about our fan base, we actually have one of our loyal fans checking in from us from the other side of the pond. Mr.
Hey, what's going on, David?
David, I'm glad you were able to check us out right now. I greatly appreciate that. But yes, let's get into Mr. Nick Aldis.
Yeah, this kind of threw me off guard a little bit when I read it.
So, in case people were not aware what happened, Nick Aldis went on, because apparently Instagram now, you can start doing subscriptions, apparently.
If that's the case, then I need to sign up for one for myself.
And supposedly that's where he turned around and he told everybody that he put in his notice with NWA. Basically went as far as saying that the NWA is not a good show.
And that's a shame too, because he's been basically the poster child for the last 4 or 5 years.
He was one of the guys who was worked behind the scenes with the company.
No, I know, but also he's been like one of the faces of it for like the last 4 or 5, even maybe it was 6 years.
Well, if you remember, he was the one he had that legendary run. I think over 1,000 days with the NWA title.
Yeah.
But then, what made this worse is NWA. I think it's the next weekend or this weekend.
This weekend they were in New Orleans, and management decided to pull Nick Aldis of not only Hard Times but also the TV tapings.
Yep. And supposedly, from what reports have been saying, a lot of it also was how Billy Corgan treated Nick's wife, which happens to be Mickie James.
Oh.
One thing, folks, I have learned over the years, you don't want to piss off a woman, nor do you want to piss off somebody's wife.
No.
So you don't want to do that for either of them. But
I'm sorry to cut you off, John. What was the comment that was said about Mickie James?
That supposedly it was how he treated her, and it was okay. We actually got a comment coming in from Mr. Reynolds in regards to the. He turned on. He goes, Nick Aldis, in my opinion, made the NWA appear more than just an indie show. The man's a workhorse. Yes, I completely agree.
I couldn't agree more, because without NWA, without him being featured on NWA, you wouldn't have seen even some of the guys that have been there, like Tim Storm, for example. Like Tim Storm, who was their former champion. Mm-hmm. And also, if you remember, what was it, NWA 73, I think it was 72 or 73, where they went to Nashville. They sold out the Nashville Fairgrounds for their massive anniversary show, and the main event was Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes.
Yes. But with Nick, though, he's getting the short end of the stick, in my opinion, right now.
He is.
Yeah. Because he's voicing his opinion about the company. And granted, yeah, I have not really kept up that much with the NWA in recent times. I mean, granted, yes, we did have part of one of the bearded trio who works behind the scenes of NWA on our show back in the early days of the show. But I have not really kept up with it. The first season, when they first debuted on YouTube, I was watching that stuff every week.
My first glimpse of NWA was when they did NWA Into the Fire.
Yes.
Remember that pay-per-view? And that was great.
Well, the
fire. Sorry.
That was stuck in my head.
I know, it's so good.
But yeah, remember, that's the only song by Doc I actually know.
Yeah, right?
And, I mean, that one I love. That was probably, out of all their songs they've ever had, that was probably the best one they've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, really going back to that first season, you had Nick Aldis as your champion. You had Thunder Rosa still. She was one of your champions.
Serena Deeb.
You had Serena Deeb. You had Question Mark.
Oh, rest in peace.
You had freaking Question Mark who would come out and sing the Mongrovian national anthem.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
I mean,
Great competitor.
but you know who else was also part of that company in the early days? You may remember him more as Damien Sandow.
Ah, yes.
He was part, and then you also had guys like, I have to do this right, L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
You also had, no, my biggest thing with that one, if you remember I think it was at Into the Fire pay-per-view, was when they had Marty Scurll.
Yeah, when they had him come out of nowhere and confront
Uh-huh.
Nick Aldis.
And I remember commentary for NWA that first season was, if I remember correctly, wasn't old Jimmy there part of the commentary in the early days?
I don't think it was him, but I'm afraid I got some bad news.
Yes, Wade Barrett. David just chimes in here right now and says, Party Marty.
Party Marty. Yep.
But, I mean, the NWA in the beginning was fantastic.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I loved it. But then I think... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, what I loved about it also was you can be eating lunch and watch an entire episode.
Yeah, pretty much. I think what kind of killed it, though, was the pandemic.
It was that, and then unfortunately, I think it was also for all the crap that happened with Lagana. If you
With
remember,
who?
Dave Lagana. One
No.
of the guys. You remember the whole Me Too movement?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
That, because if you remember, that was the same time the pandemic hit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, when every one of the mothers was getting called out during that time frame.
Yep.
Oh.
And that's when, at that point, I remember NWA turned around and said, we're going to take a hiatus for a while. We don't know if we're going to come back.
Yep.
Yeah, David makes a point here. He says the pandemic also killed Impact Wrestling too.
It did, but I would say it's still, I know I would say barely, but it's still doable.
Yeah, but the thing is, Impact Wrestling, at least now, is starting to get to where they used to be.
And I can say I was there for a fraction of it because I worked with them for a year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, now I still think that one of the best feuds going on right now is the Josh Alexander Bully Ray feud.
Oh.
Because of how many people, not even that, how many layers are involved in this. Because you got Tommy Dreamer's thrown into the mix, Moose is thrown into the mix. You got Bullet Club thrown into the mix.
Hell, you had freaking wow, I am drawing a blank on oh wow. Someone else got thrown into the mix too. On Impact. I forgot who. Cutler.
Yeah. David chimes in here also and says, at least Scott D'Amore is working his ass off to try to keep it together. Hats off to him. Yeah, I completely
Agreed.
I mean, go back, and folks, if you missed our episode that we did about Bound for Glory, go back. That episode is still up on our YouTube page. But our, good friend of the show and a good friend of mine and Carl's and Ryan, yours as well, Billy, was actually at that show for Bound for Glory.
And I was there at Rebellion 6 months prior where Josh won the title in the first place.
Yep. But you look at what that company is doing right now in Impact Wrestling. I mean, I'll give you a great example. Look what they're doing with Bully right now.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know if you're going to trust Bully, or you don't know if Bully's going to go in his old ways. You don't know if this is his final run in wrestling. It's like I think I've seen the clips now 2 or 3 times, especially when they're backstage, and he got pissed off at Tommy because he's like, I came back to this company and nobody still believes me. Because it's like I said before, they know how to get you emotionally invested.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you look at. I mean, I know we started off this whole thing with NWA, but I just think NWA. I think it's like I said before. It's the pandemic, and it's what happened to Lagana that basically killed that company.
Yeah. I mean, I will say though, I commend them for when they did their first Empower women's show,
Yes.
which I will say that was one of the reasons why Aldis said the company was a bad company because wasn't it Corgan that kind of bashed women's wrestling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There you go.
I totally agree. I think if anybody does another Empower type show, I think it's going to be WWE. I think with what Hunter is doing right now, especially bringing back all these women, I think something's getting set up for Revolution too.
And I said this before, and I said this before on the show in the past when you're talking about Mickey James in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in my opinion, the best place to do something like this, and the IWC can bash on me as much as they want. I don't give a shit. I'm going by someone that's in the industry and knows a thing or two about fan bases. If you want to really stick it, really make an impact in women's wrestling, then why not do the all women's pay per view in Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, I would not be against it.
Especially when women are main eventing Madison Square Garden. There was a bunch of shit that will be happening that night.
At a venue that's probably one of the most historic ones, not only in the Northeast, but in the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
But now this leads to another thing now. Because Nick is no longer with the company, he's still under contract with the company for the rest of this year. His contract does expire in the beginning of 2023. I know he has done past interviews and had said for a while he would never come to the WWE.
But look who was running it at the time.
Exactly. I'm going to say this right now. If there's a possibility we can get Nick Aldis in the WWE for the Rumble, I would not be against him being one of the final four in the Rumble.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Rumble, too, because there were reports that came out that supposedly Triple H is looking to make both the men's and women's Rumble matches 40 people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead with what you were about to say.
If that's the case, then this is how I would do it. 12 from Raw, 12 from SmackDown, 12 from NXT, and the rest all surprises.
And I would also go as far as this. I wouldn't leak out any of the surprises.
No.
Because you could have if you really wanted to make this thing wild. I mean, I did read a report today that there is one guy currently wrestling in New Japan who would love to do a match with a certain Seth freaking Rollins. I don't know if you heard this story.
And who might that be?
How about Will Ospreay?
I don't know, because right now he's going into a feud with Shota Umino.
I got a comment coming in here from our buddy David, who chimes in and says, "Can't stand spoilers. My pet hate. My pet hate.
It's his pet peeve.
Pet peeve, yeah.
That's what he means.
No, and David, I completely agree. I think spoilers are one of the worst things to happen because you see. I mean, I'll give you an example. Go back to the night when the Dudley Boys came back to WWE, the night after Summer. Nobody saw them coming back. And that pop was humongous.
For who again? I'm sorry.
The Dudleys.
Oh, hell yeah.
But then on the flip side, look at the other times. Go back to Monday Night Raw with Mia Yim. everybody knew Mia Yim was coming back. It was reported for so long.
Again, that's why you shouldn't have returned her in a place that nobody cheers.
But we're going to keep the conversation going. However, we're going to
Yeah.
kind of not. I'm trying to find the best way to put this. We're going to transition now into the independent world.
Yes.
Because, folks, we have not we, but there is a lot of shows happening this weekend. As I know, a lot of shows. Ryan, one thing I'm starting to realize now when it comes to independent wrestling. A lot of companies don't do that many shows. Like a lot of companies, like this week, is like their last show of the year.
Yeah, especially because the thing about it, December is usually a hard time to do shows.
Yes, because I know
it's the end of the year, and also you got Hanukkah, you got Kwanzaa, you got Christmas and New Year's, all piled into 1 month at the end. It's no one's going to be paying attention to that shit.
Well, let's go now with one show that will be happening, and it's not this weekend, but it's actually Thanksgiving. Go ahead.
I do want to mention one thing because you showed this to me off camera, and I kind of want to knock this out of the way first.
Yeah, go right ahead.
At the end of this month, on Thanksgiving weekend, November 26th, I am back on the mic once again with one of the companies that I love near and dear to my heart, which is Ace Pro Wrestling. I started with them in 2013. Here I am almost 10 years later, and I'm still talking about them because Ace is fucking phenomenal. We can confirm that on November 26th. Do not do it yet, John. I'll set you up for that.
Okay.
November 26th. I know it's Survivor Series, but at 5 p.m., Ace Pro Wrestling will be doing an event in Teaneck, New Jersey, 829 Windsor Road at the Knights of Columbus, right down there. And on that night, we will have Ace Pro Wrestling legend himself and current AEW star Jay Lethal as Ace Pro Wrestling presents Lethal Injection.
All the information is right there.
Yep. Knights of Columbus of Teaneck, 829 Windsor Road, and tickets are only $20. And bell time is at 5 p.m. And I think I may be wrong on this. I may be wrong. But I think there may be a watch-along happening afterwards.
I can tell
Just saying.
I can tell you right now, I am jealous of every one of you.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm jealous.
Why? Why are you jealous?
Working retail that weekend.
Oh, yes. You're fucked.
I'd rather be in New Jersey, especially eating those empanadas.
Oh, yes. And at Ace Pro Wrestling, you can get those freaking empanadas. Chef's kiss delicious.
Oh, yes. Just my only suggestion, try to order yours before Carl Roberts does.
Yes. I still want to know what the fucking bill that was. I want to know how much all that shit was.
I don't know.
Because not only did he pay for his, he paid for mine and his as well, I think.
No, he didn't pay for mine.
Oh, he didn't?
Nope.
The fuck did he pay for besides me? Anyway, that's an off-camera thing. So,
hold on. David actually chimes in here right now. And he goes, I'm so jealous too. Wish I lived in the States.
What can you do?
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Why do I sound Jewish now all of a sudden? Moving on.
Wanted to throw that out there about Ace Pro Wrestling. Folks, again, come on down November 26th, Thanksgiving weekend, while you're still in your Thanksgiving hangover recovery stages. Just come get out your energy. Just come yell your energy at the wrestlers, all right? And believe me, I know some of the matches that will be taking place. I would highly recommend you get your asses down there.
Folks, I've been to 2 of them now, and I will tell you right now, the 2 that I was at were 2 of probably the better shows I've been to all year. including the main event of the last one, which was a Fans Bring the Weapons match between Vince Steele and Absolute Alvin Alvarez.
Yep.
And folks, you had to have been there to see the weapons that were brought. I'll just leave it at that.
Make sure to follow Ace Pro Wrestling on YouTube because those matches always end up on YouTube. Just saying.
Yeah. I may actually speak to Mike about that regarding the Fans Bring the Weapons match to see if he'd be okay with us putting the Alvin Alvarez match. Since, I don't know, our own Carl Roberts got involved in that match. Off camera.
Now,
but
let's get into what's going to be happening on Saturday. I am sorry, John. Indie wrestling is my thing.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this first before we get into the Wrestle Pro. It's their 100th show.
I was not getting into that. I was talking about New Evolution Wrestling first, which is another company I work with, but unfortunately I will not be there due to being at Wrestle Pro. Sorry, they booked me months in advance. But if you're in Queens, definitely go down to the Queensboro Elks Lodge. It's I believe their 4-year anniversary event. And boy, do they have a card. They're going all in. Obviously, you know the same card stuff that change. You know how it is. But right now, I can confirm they have Alberto El Patron, Ricardo Rodriguez, the Impact Wrestling World Champion Josh Alexander, Japanese legend Ultimo Dragon, Marufuji Nakajima, Ashley D'Amboise, Layla Gray, Kira Hogan, Kimberly, yes, and so much more. Trust me. 8220 Queens Boulevard. I had to remember the address off the top of my head. New Evolution Wrestling. Highly recommend getting your tickets. I think bell time's at 6:30, 7 o'clock, I believe. But again, folks, go check out New Evolution Wrestling. Now,
one last thing I just want to add to that one. There will be people there from the Around the Ropes podcast on Saturday night.
Nah, I'm not worried about those people.
Oh, okay.
There'll be 1.5 men there. I'll say that.
Moving on.
And John, you are the one.
Okay.
That's what I was getting at. Anyway.
Moving on. Do you want to start off with Wrestle Pro or Invictus?
Oh, Wrestle Pro, please.
Okay.
So also on Saturday night, where I'm going to be at, it is Wrestle Pro's 100th event. I was there in the very beginning as a fan, and then eventually I've been brought on, to announce. And every single Wrestle Pro show has been fire after fire after fire after fire. You know the rest. And also, I can confirm that Wrestle Pro 100 will be streamed live for free on the official Wrestle Pro Facebook page. It used to be on Fight TV, but management decided, nah, fuck it. We actually care about our fans, so let's stream it for free.
Yes.
A wrestling company that cares about their fans? Oh!
What's sad is I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but that's another story for another day.
Yep.
That'll be in the tell-all episode we do.
Oh my God, that will be the we're about to get canceled episode of the ATR network. So, Mr. Blaine, would you be so kind, good sir, as to bring up said match graphics?
Yes. Tell me which match you'd like to go to first.
Well, obviously, let's start off with what's kicking off the event.
Oh, does it happen to be this match?
Yes, this match right here. As the Bad Apple, Matt McIntosh, will take on Pat Buck. Now, a little bit of a history lesson. At the first ever event back in 2016, these two faced off, where the winner was going to be crowned the inaugural Wrestle Pro Gold Champion. which Mr. Matt McIntosh won and was the first ever champion. So now management has decided, screw it, let's bring it back. I think it's the first time they face each other since 2016. So this one's opening the show. You can't go wrong with that shit.
Can I just say one thing? I think this is the first time I've seen a picture of Pat Buck not in a suit.
I think you're right. But anyway, I think you're right. But next,
do you want to go to the tag title?
As long as this, not those two, the other two matches that I told you to save for last, whatever match graphic you throw up, I will go along with it. Ah, yes. This one I'm so excited for the Wrestle Pro Tag Team titles. The current champions, the Iron Savages, Bronson and Boulder, taking on the debuting Joel and Jose Maximo, the SAT.
Okay, I do have one question to ask about this. Why does it look like the picture that they picked for SAT was from them from the 90s?
I don't know.
I saw that graphic originally. I'm like they've been wrestling before. They've wrestled since And hold on, the way this picture looks again. This is me trying to just poke fun at this whole thing. It looks like they're about to go from this to recording a song with the Backstreet Boys. I'm just saying.
Oh jeez. Oh Jesus Christ. But that's another.
Not trying to get heat. I'm just saying.
And that's for the Wrestle Pro Tag titles. And actually, this will be my first time working with Joel in almost 8 years.
Oh, gee. Now,
I've known Joel for a long time.
This is one matchup I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
And this happens to be with a gentleman who I have seen wrestle plenty of times. And not plenty of times. I've seen him wrestle twice. But both of his matches that I have seen live in person have been incredible.
Yes.
And that would be this match right here.
Oh, yes, baby. So, back in October, these two faced off against each other, first time ever matchup. And Danny Moff was victorious. And then later on in the night, there was a massive 30-man Rumble match where the winner was going to be crowned the interim Wrestle Pro Gold Champion. Because unfortunately, the current champion, Dion Rusman, tore his other ACL, so he's out on injury. Mm-hmm. And also, forgot to mention, Danny Moff and LSG were the final two. And they started off as number 1 and number 2 in the Rumble. And as you can see right there, LSG is the interim Wrestle Pro Gold Champion. So now they can go. They can bring it all back for round number 2. And that's going to be a banger.
Now, next match I want to look at happens to be the 6-way match.
Yes. Ah, yes. The classic Wrestle Pro 6-way. Because Wrestle Pro is always known for having, six-way matches. So, as you can see, going from right to left, we have Cheeseburger, a.k.a. world famous CB, Action Andretti from MCW in Baltimore, Maryland, The Phoenix, GKM, Tyler Payne, I forgot what his moniker is, but I think he's the yoga guru, I think, or something like that. I forgot his name. I apologize, Tyler, if you're listening. The Silver Sniper, TJ Crawford, and from AEW, Kip Sabian.
Yes.
Pretty much, that looks like a massive cruiserweight 6-way. There's gonna be tons of high flying action in that matchup.
As long as you don't have to take a bump, I'll be happy.
Listen, that's what happened last time. Freaking Jimmy Jacobs throwing LSG into me. What the hell?
I gotta admit, though, you sold it perfectly.
Moving on.
Now we got another match featuring a current AEW superstar.
I wonder who that could be. Why, yes! As you can see right there, folks, we have the difference maker, Trax, going one-on-one against El Capitan himself, the captain, Sean Dean.
Yeah.
Sean Dean making his return once again to Wrestle Pro. No stranger to us.
Yes, and so far all these matches look good, but I think these next match is going to be a very hard hitting, could I say?
Well, let's find out, shall we?
And that would be this match right here.
Oh, oh, beefy, beefy, beefy. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see right here, we have a battle of behemoths. I believe it's their first time ever, I think also. I could be mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
On the left, you have the Dominican Destroyer, Vargas, taking on the right, the timeless one, Crowbar. Crowbar, who's been on a massive resurgence in the last few years, has been killing it in AEW. And also just recently featured in New Japan.
Yes.
And kind of want to throw into this little mix with Vargas because Vargas is the current holder of the on-the-spot medallion, which is pretty much Wrestle Pro's version of the Money in the Bank contract. And he can cash that in on any of the Wrestle Pro titles. So I have a very, very strong feeling that he's going to be watching Danny Mock and LSG's match very closely on that night.
You know how much I love to see Vargas versus Mock. I say that constantly. Now we got another match here with another current AEW superstar. That could be a little bit of a hard-hitting affair.
Oh, yes. Lucifer L taking on Josh Woods. Oh. Now, folks, back at the last Wrestle Pro show in September, I believe it was, it's September, Josh Woods took on Trax. And that one was a very, very hard-hitting matchup. You saw it, by the way, too, John. You saw the show.
Oh, yeah.
Am I wrong that match was extremely hard-hitting?
Oh, yeah. Because I remember that match in the beginning, I texted you and I said, announcer needs a new suit.
You're lucky you weren't in the crowd that night, too, because I would have buried your ass.
You know I'm being sarcastic.
And you know I'm not.
Oh, I know you're not. Now, I know there's Wrestle Pro, but Ryan, people may not know there's also a Wrestle Pro Alaska.
Yes, which I have been a part of quite a few times. And I think I know where you're going with this, so that's all right, ladies and gentlemen. The Wrestle Pro Alaska Last Frontier Championship will be on the line as the current champion himself, Fala Ba, will be in a fatal four-way match against Colton Charles, Justin Carino, and the Savage Gentleman, Victor Benjamin.
Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. I think I have a new dream match I'd love to see. Victor Benjamin versus Josh Woods.
Oh, yes. Especially with both of them having MMA backgrounds. Oh.
Now, like I said, folks, every match that I presented so far to Mr. Peterson has all been hard-hitting. But none of them have been as stacked as this next match, which will be a triple threat match.
Oh, yes. Originally, I think I know where you're going with this. Originally, it was going to be a one-on-one match, and then they decided to throw in a wild card. So, originally, it was supposed to be Wheeler Yuta taking on the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers, but management decided to throw in a wild card last minute and decided to throw in Dante Martin.
Yes.
Oh.
I can tell you right now, unfortunately, I'll watch it later on because, like I said, myself and Carl Roberts will be at New Evolution that night. This is one match I'm looking forward to because I'm just curious to see what you're going to do. Not only with somebody like Brian Myers, but with two probably people who you can say are the future of this industry, and Mr. Wheeler Yuta and Dante Martin.
Not to mention, one of them has a pretty sick tie-in with a Sir William Regal.
Yes. Could he be there? You never know.
You gotta tune in to find out,
Yes. But now,
or be there in person, because you never know what happens off camera.
yes. But now, WrestlePro has had a tournament the last couple of months to crown the first women's champion.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the next match we'll be looking at.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see right there, the WrestlePro Women's Championship will be decided as Lena Cross from, I believe, Australia, taking on Lady Frost in the finals. And folks, that's the semi-main event. I'm sorry to cut you off, John. I want to make that very clear. That's the semi-main event.
And folks, the other thing also I'd just like to mention, it may be a little cold in the Rahway Rec Center that night.
No. It may be a little bit cold, but I think the main event will heat things right back up.
Oh, are you referring to this match?
Oh, yes. Yes. There's your main event right there, ladies and gentlemen. A year-long rivalry between these two gentlemen finally comes to a close as the Messiah of old school, Sean Donovan, takes on CPA in a barbed wire match.
Now, for this type of match, first of all, I give CPA a lot of credit for the fact that he can wrestle in a button-down shirt, slacks, and a tie.
Yep.
Now, I'm assuming for this match, it would be the ropes are tied up in barbed wire, I'm assuming?
No.
Oh, okay.
The ropes are gone and are replaced with barbed wire.
So I'm assuming when you do the ring announcer for this one, you'll be standing outside the ring.
Oh hell no! I ain't going in the ring. Fuck that shit. I'm standing on the outside. Hell, I'll even announce with the bleachers at that point. I don't give a shit.
Why, you couldn't see yourself having to go through barbed wire like that? I'm just saying.
If that's the case, then can I just stick one of those blades onto my stomach so they can trim off like 40 pounds off my abs?
Wow.
I'll be sure. There's my weight loss surgery. Barbed wire. Yeah, done.
All of a sudden, you come back to the show next week. It's like, Ryan, you've lost about 50 pounds. What happened? Oh, barbed wire match.
Slim fast. Slim fast. Very fast. Slim very fast.
Yeah. But that's not the only show you'll be a part of this weekend.
But again, folks, WrestlePro. I want to finish off with WrestlePro, and then we'll go into show number 3 for that weekend. Doors open at 6 p.m. And also, I found out we will have pre-show matches starting at 7:30. So definitely get there early enough to see. I believe one of the matches. I just found this out a few hours ago. It is your prime minister and the master of the penalty box, Skylar Mack, going one-on-one against Moonshot Max St. Giovanni MSG. That's one of the matches scheduled. I think there's like maybe one or two more after that. But folks, it's our 100th show. Anything is possible. I mean, come on, at WrestlePro at one point, and you've probably seen it online a bunch of times. You never know who's going to show up. Yeah. Our first show back last October. We had Morrissey. Come out of nowhere.
And folks, I have seen a few I've seen the WrestlePro show I saw was the September show that Ryan was talking about before. That I will say this right now. You want to see a good match, I highly recommend Moth versus Myers from that one. Because that match was supposed to be not a outside the ring type of match, and they fought all the way up to the bleachers.
Not only that, just come see WrestlePro in general.
That's actually one of the companies, right? I'll tell you right now that in 2023 I want to go to.
Well, you better get your. Well, February 4th is their first one of 2023. Spoiler alert, that's the next one.
Well, I don't know about that one because we'll be in Baltimore.
It's a Saturday night. You can make it.
We'll be in Baltimore.
You can drive down afterwards.
Yeah, we could discuss that off air.
I coño. Anyway, next day.
But hold on. There's another thing going on Saturday that we're forgetting to talk about.
Oh yeah, the big event in Queens, but I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about the wrestling. I'm just kidding. Folks, also you'll see myself and unfortunately John and Carl at the big event in Queens. You'll see us in Queens for the big event, helping out RP Productions, where they're bringing in such top-notch quality talent. Just come by, say hi, spend a few bucks on a photo of me, not them, me, and but folks, just come down there and have a great time. From 10 to 3 at Terrace at the Park. Now
we'll get on to the other stuff.
Yes. On Sunday, the 13th, I don't know how the hell I'm going to pull this off, but somehow I'm going to have enough energy in my body to announce Invictus Pro Wrestling as they make their way into the Boogie Down Bronx for the first time ever and present and do a massive tournament to crown their first ever Invictus Grand Champion.
Well, Ryan, before we get into that card, I have all the matches lined up. You know how
I know. I wanted to point that out first.
You know how you can help that energy? That help get energy for Sunday?
Could it be something called Delicious Coffee, which folks you can still buy our coffee for $20 a bag? Oh, God bless America! All right.
I'm just saying, I've heard.
I agree. I was doing a cheap plug on our product. Now, let's go through the match cards, shall we?
Now, the first match we have here is actually one of the people who I've gotten to know pretty well, as it would be this match right here.
Ah, yes. Yes. The Cure, Lucas Chase, going one-on-one against someone who is somewhat of a savage per se in PJ Savage, who is also the holder of the Climb for Clout briefcase, which he can cash in at any time, any place for the social media championship. Just saying.
I'm just going to say this much. I've never met Lucas Chase before, but looking at the picture again, you don't want to piss him off.
Nope.
He looks like he would kill you.
Lucas Chase, who's based out of the Test of Strength Wrestling Academy up in Connecticut, has been featured on AEW Dark multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I think he's one half of the tag team champions, I believe, for Test of Strength. So definitely check that out. But next is actually featuring. He's a part wrestler, but he's also a part promoter in another company that we work with, and that would be this match. Yes, a Let Them Fight showcase match as Anthony Gamble takes on Steve Off. Got nothing to say about this. Next match. No, I'm just kidding. Steve Off making his, I would say, debut with Invictus, finally? Oh, no, I'm sorry, no. I stand corrected. Making his return because the last time he wrestled in Invictus, he was in the tag title tournament alongside John Tella, bringing back the American Murder Society.
I'm just gonna say this right now. Is it safe to say that match may have some magic in it?
Next.
Wow.
Next.
Looks like we have. I'm just gonna say this right now. I always like my eggs in an omelet, but I also like them scrambled, and I think we have a 6-pack scramble happening.
That's a horrible fucking segue for this one. That's a horrible segue.
But it worked.
No, it didn't. That's a bad dad joke. Anyway, folks, as you can see right there on your screens, we have the six-pack scramble. Going from right to left, we have Nikolai White making his return, taking on the Bodega Boy, Jarett Diaz, Matt Awesome, Nolo Catano, Boomer Hatfield, and Mantequilla.
So it's
Right there and there. It's another high flying match between all six competitors.
Mm-hmm. I will definitely say that much. So you didn't like my egg joke?
Next, move on.
There was no yolk in there.
Next.
There will be a women's match.
Yes, there will be a women's match,
and it'll be featuring these lovely ladies.
Yep, as you can see right there, going from left to right, just so you know, we have Shane McCoy making her return against someone who also is making her return after a impressive debut at Let Them Fight back in August. La Chica Clara Carreras.
Yes.
Clara Carreras, who's actually shorter than Carl Roberts, which is very rare in the real world, but she's tiny. I'm actually being serious. She's tiny as hell.
Now, there will be.
But she's a phenomenal wrestler, though.
There will be a tag team title match with two tag teams who I absolutely love. Some might say this is one of the better stories going on right now in the year.
Oh, yes.
Will it finally be the time?
Oh, yes. As you can see right there, for the Invictus Tag Team Championships, the current champions themselves, Milk Chocolate, taking on the team of Dominic De Niro and Chris Barton, fight or die in a New York street fight.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got chills, just like, ah!
I obviously we were at the match that they had for the 2-year anniversary show.
Yep.
And
at Magnitude.
They stole the show.
And also the fact that they were supposed to do a rematch back at United We Fight 2, but unfortunately Dominic had a medical emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So and it ended up being it was a triple threat match. Triple threat tag title match. Where it was Milk Chocolate, Fight or Die, and I forgot the other team off the top of my head. I apologize. Yes, the faceless ones. But it turned into a regular one-on-one match, and then Chris Barton came out saying, "Hey, listen, if Dom's not here, I'll still win this for myself. So I'm entering the match. So technically, it's a triple threat tag match. So let's do this, bitches." So the three of them went at it, and of course, as usual, Milk Chocolate takes the titles. Knocks it over Barton's head while the referee is distracted. Barton gets on the mic and says, "You know what? I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of all the games, all the cheating and whatnot. So you know what? Next event, we back home in my backyard. How about we do this in a New York street fight?"
Your Chris Barton impression is really spot on.
Thank you.
But now, we also have a tournament that day. Or you guys will have a tournament that day, not me, you guys. Mm-hmm. And here is the layout for said tournament.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on that day, history will be made as we will crown our first ever Invictus Grand Champion in an 8-man tournament. Now, this is how the brackets are being broken down. Going from the top... Let's do top left. Let's do top left, for example. First round matchup, you have a gentleman who has basically made a name for himself in wrestling today, and has been ranked number 149 on the PWI Top 500. He's the 2022 ECWA Super 8 tournament winner, and is also a now 4-time Warriors of Wrestling heavyweight champion after he defeated John's favorite person in the whole world, Joe Ocasio. But also is the current Catalyst champion, and also has held numerous titles across many promotions, and that is the All-Father himself, Mr. Darius Carter, as he takes on an individual who's been pretty much climbing the ranks in Invictus, especially back at Magnitude, where he faced off in a thrilling main event matchup against none other than Speedball Mike Bailey, and that is Gabriel Sky. That's just the first round matchup. Now, going down in the other bracket, we have someone who's made a name for himself in numerous promotions, including VXS, GCW, House of Glory, you name it, and also AEW Dark, you name it, he's done it all. And that is Cashflow Ken Broadway, as he takes on someone, again, very well known in Invictus and other promotions, being accompanied by Mr. PWI Top 500 himself, Big Dust, the Shamrock Shooter, Killian McMurphy. Oh, I'm getting a little tingly right now because going across the board and going up is a matchup that I actually wanted to see for a long time. And that is the Silver Sniper, TJ Crawford, after finally making his return to wrestling after being gone for almost a year due to an ACL tear, taking on the Poisoned Youth, Robert Martyr. Oh, I just got chills. Oh, and I'm sure John is having a lovely chill fest on his, off camera right now. And then the final bracket is, it's going to be a surprise factor, actually, as we see the former Invictus Pro Wrestling social media champion himself, Big Game Leroy, taking on Vacant. Vacant is being popular everywhere. We actually booked Vacant. My goodness gracious! But that one will be a mystery opponent that won't be announced until Big Game Leroy is in the ring. So he doesn't even know who he's facing off against.
Now, obviously, I won't be there, but I'm curious to get. One thing I am curious with this tournament. You look at Darius Carter and Gabriel Sky. Is the fact that Darius was not able to win the Grand Dragon that just happened as he lost again going to the finals. I wonder if that's going to play a role in this.
Possibly gaining that fuel, that energy, that fire.
Yeah,
possibly.
But
and then, oh, sorry. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
No, I was about to. I was letting you talk because I was going to actually set up for the next graphic.
I was actually leading into the next graphic because. Go ahead. As you can see right there, it's the finals of the Grand Championship Tournament. We ain't doing the 7 matches in one night BS. No. It's whoever wins the first matchup goes into the fatal 4-way match in the main event. As basically Bacon and as of right now, Bacon and his cousins are currently the title holders, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Vacant is popular tonight.
Vacant taking on Vacant, taking on Vacant, taking on Vacant.
It's a family affair. So, but again, folks, that is how we will crown our first ever grand champion. Now, I'm actually going to throw the spotlight onto you, Mr. Blaine.
Okay.
Based off, and if you need, you know what? Let's do something different. Pull up the bracket, please.
A bracket? You got it.
Okay. Now, we're going to play a little game here, John.
Okay.
The game is who is winning and who do you think will win it all. So, first things first. Big game Leroy and Vacant.
I think it's going to have to be that one's a tough one because it's not like Leroy can do any sort of like pre-work beforehand on it, and it's not like he can sit there and study anybody. Whoever they end up getting, I think that Vacant's going to end up winning it.
So you think Vacant might move on to the finals?
Yes.
Okay. Next one, Ken Broadway and Killian McMurphy.
Ooh, this one's a tough one. I mean, I was lucky enough to watch both these guys at the 2-year anniversary show. Ken had obviously took on Darius Carter, and Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. Killian McMurphy was in that unsanctioned match, right?
Correct, and he was on the winning team.
You mean the match that ended up bleeding out onto Bergen Avenue?
Yeah, almost to the GW Bridge.
Yeah, but then then they realized they didn't have enough money for
Toll, so they got sent back.
Yeah. Oof, this one's an interesting one because I don't know with this one. I mean, what I could see them doing is having Ken win this one, setting up a rematch on half of the. I know it's a fatal 4-way, but in one half of the bracket, I could see a rematch happening.
Well, if you think, you know what? Let's get into the other two, and then I'll tell you something else. So, right above it, Darius Carter and Gabriel Sky.
Unfortunately, like I said before, Carter was not able to successfully become the Grand Dragon champion, and I think he's going to take his. I know it's two different companies, but I think he's going to take his frustrations out on Gabriel Sky, and I could see Carter being the one advancing.
Okay, so right now you have Vacant, Ken Broadway, Darius Carter, correct?
Yes.
Now the final one, T.J. Crawford and Robert Martyr.
Crawford just came back after being out for a while. Martyr is somebody who I thought had a very good outing at the 2-year anniversary show when he took on Big Game Leroy in the match they had. I gotta go Crawford. I gotta go Crawford on this one. I think Crawford is riding the momentum of his comeback, and I think the way you set up that fatal 4-way with Carter, Crawford, Vacant, and Broadway, you can't tell me that's not that doesn't scream money right there.
Okay, so you are saying to myself and to the public eye that you have Ken Broadway, Carter, Crawford, and question mark.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned Ken Broadway and Darius Carter in a rematch, right?
Yes.
Well, there was also in this little bracket. There's also another rematch that would be taking place, and that would be Ken Broadway and T.J. Crawford, because back in Bloom in 2021, these two faced off against each other for the first time ever in their debuts. Now, final two questions. Number one, who do you think is Vacant?
Ooh.
That's the curveball.
Ooh, this was a tough one. I don't know who would be specifically, but I think whoever it is, being that this is the first time for this tournament, I think it's going to be somebody who has made quite an impact in Invictus.
Okay.
And I think it's somebody who nobody's even thinking.
Okay. Now, the final question. Oh, sorry.
No, but that's why I was saying I think it's gonna be somebody who has made an impact in the company, but it's somebody who nobody would think would be included.
Okay. Now, final question.
Mm-hmm.
You said redacted, Broadway, Carter, and Crawford. Out of all four of them, who do you think is going to be crowned the inaugural grand champion?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot right now.
That's the name of the game. If they can do it during March Madness season, then damn it, we can do it too.
I think it's going to be Crawford.
Really?
And I say that for one reason. I can take this off now, right? The bracket off?
Yeah. You can.
Okay. I remember watching Crawford when he was wrestling for the Redacted Company
Oh God.
against Casey Catal.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I said that rivalry to me reminded me of Jericho and Chyna. So Crawford is
Oh.
somebody who I think can work well in the ring. You take, again, a lot of it depends on who Vacant is, which, like you said before, Vacant won't be acknowledged until Big Game Leroy is in the ring. It like I said, because now I'm thinking in my head, could it possibly be Vacant who may win it? That's what I said. I think a lot of it depends on who is vacant.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't see Carter winning it because I think, and I said this a lot about him, Carter is somebody who doesn't need a title right now because he's so over with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken Broadway, I don't think has really done a lot. But I could be wrong. I've only seen Ken Broadway in one match, so I'm basing this off of one match that I saw of him.
This is again. I put you on the spot there,
And how did I come out?
folks. If you want to check out the event,
No,
if you want to check out, no, very very good, very good. But folks, if you want to check out the event, you might put it up at least the Fatal 4-Way graphic one more time, so I can at least announce the place again. There we go. Thank you very much. Again, on November 13th at Bronxlandia, located at 910 Hunts Point Avenue in the Bronx, New York. Doors open at 1 o'clock and bell time is at 2. First row is $25. Row 2 is 20 and general admission is $15. Folks, again, history will be made that day. And I highly suggest you get your asses over to the Bronx and see what Invictus Pro Wrestling is all about.
Yes, the guys at Invictus are great guys. Gotten to know them very well in the last couple of months. Even their ring announcer is good.
It's all right.
But yes, Ryan, is there anything else you want to get to? Because I think it's safe to say we could actually wrap the show up now.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that's been going on, honestly. Any fans out there? You got any questions or whatnot?
No, I think it's safe to say because we do have another announcement to make.
We got more announcements? Good Lord Almighty.
Just one. Believe me, I'm not Tony Khan. I didn't. No, I was going to go with what I was going to go with on that one.
Nope.
But guys, in 2 weeks, November 22nd, the week of Thanksgiving, going to be a special show that night. Now, I say that it's a special show for one reason. Because that night will actually be a celebration. As it will be our 1 year anniversary special that night.
So break up the party streamers and the whistles and the booze because we celebrating.
Yeah, it's scary to think that this show has already hit a year.
Time flies when you're having fun, old man.
I'm not old. Believe me, I'm not Carl. But no, but in all seriousness, though, guys, definitely tune in for that. You don't know who's going to pop on because, folks, not only we're going to be doing that, but there will also be our show where we will give you our predictions for Mr. Peterson, if you don't mind, with the show name.
I completely zoned that for a hot second. What happened?
The show that we'll be doing predictions for that week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you talking about Four Games?
We actually do have a comment coming in.
Yes.
I'm surprised he was tall enough to reach the keyboard. Mr. Roberts checks in.
Well, Great Adventure let him free.
We gotta get better security.
Seriously. The fact that they mistaken him for a meerkat, I mean, come on.
Hey, I'm surprised he was able to wake up and walk all the way back from the Canadian border.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So wait, hold on. Does that mean Costa made it free from Tim Hortons?
Yeah, I think so.
He survived. All right. So, folks, there you have it. Our host, our other co-hosts, are safe and sound away from apparently the meerkat-loving security at Great Adventure and Tim Hortons.
Oh, hold on.
Oh God, here we go. John, you are a dead man.
No, I'm John, actually. I'm not dead man. It's nice to meet you, though, Carl.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, wait. What's Carl going to do? Okay, guys, I'm going to have another food challenge here. This time we're gonna have the sour powder. And I'm going to put
John,
that
shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up because you're going to be giving them ideas. You're going to be giving them ideas, and I don't want any more fucking sweet, sour, hot. I don't want any more fucking challenges out of this show. I'm making a statement right now. That shit ends.
Yes, folks. We will not be doing any more challenges anymore.
And I have said this off air, if there will be a challenge, I am gone.
And we don't want that.
No.
But actually, hold on. Pump the brakes here for a second. Woo.
You know it.
I thought you and I are doing a sort of a challenge.
Oh, yes.
Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, God. Why? See, this is what happens when you open your fucking mouth, John. This is what happens when you open your mouth.
Hold on. Well, you gotta remember something. I don't know why I'm doing this. I can look at you right in the camera.
Yeah, I'm looking at you this way. I'm looking at you.
Okay.
But folks, you know what? I will say this because I'm the one that actually called it out. So, December 17th, in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home of the place where apparently Carl loves to stuff meat in his mouth, aka cheesesteaks. I'm talking about cheesesteaks, John. You sicko. There will be a massive convention called Icons of Wrestling, and once again, myself, John, and Carl will be there to take part in the convention. I said to Mr. Blaine over here, because I did it last year for the first time, and weather permitting, of course. Mr. Blaine, I challenged you in a friendly competition where there's nothing on the line or whatnot. Just a little friendly competition. You and I attempting to run the Rocky Steps.
So and no, folks, that will not be broadcasted over this network.
Damn it!
Because for some people, mainly me, that's gonna be not more of me running. That's gonna be more of the over-under of how many times I'm going to trip.
But that's why I said wasn't permitting, because it is December, and that's when a wonderful thing in weather named snow and ice come into play.
Yes. But I think it's safe to say we could wrap up the show right now, because if I say anything else about our friend from New Jersey, I'm probably going to regret
it. as he said, too late.
Okay, I'm just going to say this one last part right now.
Oh, no.
Is this what happens when you're at that age and it's past your bedtime?
3,557 ways of Carl to kill John. All right.
But guys, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. It was a blast being on with Mr. Peterson. Now, Mr. Peterson, would you like to tell our listeners where you will be this weekend, in case they did not hear in the last 2 hours and 11 minutes?
Why, certainly. So, just to give you a condensed Clip Notes version, Saturday morning / afternoon from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., you will find me at the big event at Terrace at the Park in Queens, New York. And then right after that, right over the GW Bridge into Rahway, New Jersey for WrestlePro's 100th event, which if you can't make it to the event in person, what's wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding. You can watch the event live on Facebook for free at 8 p.m. And then the following day, with the 10% energy that I have left over from the night before, I will be with Invictus Pro Wrestling in the Bronx as they crown their first ever grand champion with a massive tournament, including Carl Roberts' favorite wrestler of all time, Mr. Darius Carter.
And then, do you have anything else coming up that you'd like to promote?
Yes, November 26th, Ace Pro Wrestling. Actually, would you mind bringing up the graphic one more time, please?
Certainly. Give me un momento, por favor.
November 26th, Teaneck, New Jersey. Ace Pro Wrestling featuring, boom, that man right there, Jay Lethal, as we present Lethal Injection at 5 p.m. right before Survivor Series War And then December, again, Icons of Wrestling. Where John and I will attempt to run, mostly him, will attempt to run the Rocky Steps in Philly, while Mr. Roberts sits in the corner and shoves cheesesteaks in his mouth. Because cheesesteaks are good, John. And I completely forgot. December 10th, New Evolution Wrestling is coming back to Queens, New York with a massive women's show.
And then we're also forgetting about December 3rd.
Oh, yeah. December 3rd will be a Contest of Champions in Toms River, New Jersey, I believe it is.
Yes, it is.
And also, folks, another reminder, boom, right here, you can buy our delicious organic Sumatran blend coffee. For $20 a bag. And also, we have a shitload of merchandise that we're trying to sell and get rid of. So please buy our merch. And so please buy our merch. We have mugs. We have t-shirts. We have OnlyFans. We do not, but who the hell knows in 2023.
And folks, before I also forget, there's multiple ways you can get a hold of us as far as in relation to these said merchandise items. Obviously, you can shoot us a message on Facebook. As far as payment goes, if you see us at a show, we do take cash, but we also take Venmo, PayPal, and now I can officially announce we also take Cash App.
Okay. And also for those that do want merchandise delivered to them, if you want to put in an order, please provide your shipping address. That way we can give you the correct calculations on pricing for everything.
And one last announcement I just want to make. Again, folks, in 2023, we will be back in Baltimore.
Hooray! You at Celebfest 6 right there on February 5th. The other place, beside in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland, where you can get crabs.
But folks, we do have sort of an announcement to make with that at a later time.
We got crabs. We're sponsored by Jimmy Seafood. No, I'm just kidding. I wish, but no.
And then the other thing also, like I said before, November 22nd will be our 1-year anniversary show. It's going to be a joyous occasion. You'll have all 4 of us on the screen together, because as much as I bust Ryan's chops, Carl's chops, and Costa's chops,
and we do the same to him,
none of us would be here if we didn't put the work in for the last couple of months. And by last couple of months, I mean the last year.
So that's 12 months.
Yeah. Ryan, where can the listeners find you on social media?
Well, you can find me at Twitter at Ryan_MC92. You can also find me at Instagram at WrestlingMC. On Facebook, you can find me just Ryan Peterson. For anyone that still has MySpace, why do you still have MySpace? Don't follow me on there because I don't have one. And also for certain fans, you can find me on OnlyFans, where it's basically just me sitting there eating slices of pizza for $4.99 a month. $6.99 a month if I feel like having a steak. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding about the OnlyFans thing, but you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And like John said, you can find me. Oh, wow! I am so stupid right now. I forgot about another event that's happening in December.
Mm-hmm.
December 8th. Creative Pro Wrestling is teaming up with the Major Figure Wrestling Podcast in Lynbrook, New York, as they present another installment of the Major Figures Toy Drive. And it's an event where instead of paying $20 for a ticket, all they ask in advance is a minimum of 2 brand new wrestling figure toys. And that counts towards your admission. On that night, I can gladly announce who's going to be on the card. If you don't mind for like a hot second, I completely forgot about it.
Go right ahead. Floor is yours.
So, on that night, we have Tyrus coming in, Dirty Dango, Super Crazy, Carl's twin cousin, Hornswoggle, and also someone who hasn't been featured in wrestling in a long time, Alex Riley.
Yeah.
And folks, again, that's taking place on Thursday, December the 8th. And also Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, and Mark Sterling, but we all know that. That's a given. That's a given because it's their show. But yeah, folks, definitely check that out. Again, minimum of two, and also if you bring at least 10 toys, you will get a signed poster from everyone that's on the card. Minimum of 10 toys, you get a signed poster. Just want to throw it out there, and all these goes towards the Toys for Tots on Long Island. Last year alone, oh my God, I think they raised almost 5,000 toys for the Toys for Tots. Nice. 5,000, nice. Where they needed an actual bigger U-Haul. Jeez. Because also, if you can't be there in person, I believe they're going to be making an announcement. I believe they already made the announcement or going to. You can purchase them online. There's like a website that they have. Purchase them online, and there is a special link, just for the toy drive. Whatever you buy, obviously you won't get it delivered to you. It'll go to the toy drive itself, and it'll count.
Yes, folks.
So again, folks, it's a great fundraising event. I love it.
I totally agree on that much. But guys, we've had a busy show tonight, but it's time for us to get out of here. You can follow the show at Around Rope Show on Twitter. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Unfortunately, we're not on OnlyFans because we have more than just an OnlyFans. But again, guys, next week, hopefully, we'll have a full crew back. And we'll also have some guests.
Yes, we will.
So you'll definitely want to tune into our social media to find out who will be stopping by the Around the Ropes podcast.
Who?
But again, guys, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at John_Blaine. Facebook, just type John Blaine. If you see a picture with a baby, that's me.
If you find them on Tinder, swipe right.
You're an ass.
Rest in peace, your inbox. Rest in peace, your DMs after that one.
But guys, appreciate everybody who watched us. Definitely appreciate all the comments as well. Again, folks, stay locked into us. We got a lot of stuff coming up for you guys. Plus, there's a lot of stuff coming up for you guys in 2023 that we will be announcing in the weeks and months to come.
Oh, yes.
But for Ryan Peterson, I'm John. This has been another installment of the Around the Ropes podcast. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday right here, same time. Well, actually, not same time because we'll be back on at 8. But same time, same channel. But until then, subscribe, stay classy. We'll see you on the flip side.